A rifle cracked across the desert range. Clean, flat, perfect. A group of SEALs snapped their heads toward the firing line, where the smallest person on the range lowered a rifle almost as tall as she was. "What the hell? Who fired that?" a SEAL barked. The 18-year-old didn't even blink. "I did, sir." When the Navy's most elite shooters mocked an 18-year-old attachment, they had no idea they were looking at the sharpest eye in the valley. The sun was already burning off the thin morning haze as the SEALs gathered around the firing tables, laying out suppressed MK-13s, spotting scopes, and wind meters. Their instructor, Senior Chief Rawlins, checked his clipboard. "We'll be joined by an attachment today," he muttered. "Do not babysit. Do not slow down. Run your lanes clean." Heads nodded. No one expected anything unusual. Then a shadow moved behind them. Light steps, too light for any operator. An 18-year-old girl, hair in a tight regulation bun, stepped forward holding a battered ruck that seemed too heavy for her frame. One of the SEALs, Petty Officer Hale, snorted. "Chief, is this a recruiting commercial?" Rawlins didn't look up. "She's here to observe. That's all." "Observe what? Our patience?" someone else muttered. She said nothing, just kept her eyes on the rifles, on the wind, on the dust moving low across the ground. The projector flickered as Rawlins laid out the day's exercise. High-angle shooting across the valley, 850 meters minimum. "Winds shifting every few minutes," he said. "Shooters call your own corrections." The attachment sat in the corner, notebook silent on her knees. She listened like the air itself mattered. Hale whispered to his buddy, too loud, "Hope she doesn't write a report about how scary big guns are." Rawlins' jaw tightened, but the teenager didn't react. Instead, she watched Hale's posture, his breathing, the way he slouched in his chair. She saw things. That much was clear. A long Barrett M107 rested on its bipod, black and heavy. "Don't touch that," Hale snapped as the teenager stepped near it. She paused, respectful. "Yes, sir." "You ever fired anything heavier than a school cafeteria tray?" Hale added. A few SEALs chuckled. She gently placed her ruck down. The zipper rasped open. Inside lay a custom-wrapped bolt-action rifle, worn but expertly maintained. Rawlins' eyes narrowed. "Whose rifle is that?" "Mine, sir." "You own a precision platform like that? My father built it with me." Hale scoffed. "Cute." She didn't defend herself. Instead, she pulled a torque wrench from the pack and checked every fastener with robotic discipline. Her hands were steady. Too steady. The SEALs hiked to their firing points, the teenager trailing behind, keeping pace but speaking to no one. Rawlins walked beside her finally. "You understand you're only here to watch?" "Yes, Chief." "No firing." "Orders from command." "Yes, Chief." He waited for an attitude, a complaint, anything. But she simply observed the terrain, the wind channeling between ridges, the shimmer of heat rising from the valley floor. "Where'd you learn to read terrain like that?" he asked quietly. She hesitated. "I didn't learn, sir. I just see it." Rawlins stared a moment longer than he meant to. Then he looked away. Targets sat between 850 and 1,200 meters. Steel silhouettes with fresh white paint. The first shooter knelt behind his rifle. "Shooter ready!" Rawlins raised the radio. "Send it." Crack a clean hit. Next shooter. Hit. By the sixth man, the wind began to twist, rising in small, unpredictable gusts. Shooters compensated. Some missed. Some hit. Standard training day. The teenager watched each shot, tracking vapor trails with uncanny precision. Hale glanced at her. "Don't get too excited. These are pros." She nodded politely. "Yes, sir." Then Hale settled behind his rifle. He aligned the crosshairs at 1,000 meters. "Shooter ready," he said. "Send it," Rawlins replied. Crack. The round drifted slightly left. Miss. Hale adjusted. Second shot. Miss again. Rawlins frowned. "Wind's rolling off the ridge. What correction you using?" ".4 right. Try .8. "I got it, Chief." He fired again. Miss. Behind him, the teenager spoke, carefully. "Sir, the wind at your target is reversed. It's pulling left to right at the last 200 meters. Hale glared. "No offense. Attachment. But you're not running this lane." "Yes, sir." But Rawlins stared at her a long moment as Hale missed a fourth shot. Something wasn't adding up. The team rested in the shade of an MRZR vehicle. Hale tossed a protein bar toward the teenager. Eat something. You'll pass out before you finish observing. She caught it midair. Fast. Instinctive. Too instinctive. You reflex testing her now? One SEAL laughed. Hale shrugged. Trying to see what kind of prodigy command thinks we need watching us. You think I'm here to judge you, sir? She asked quietly. Aren't you? No, sir. She opened the bar but didn't eat it. She stared at the valley instead, scanning microshifts in the terrain. Rawlins approached. You shoot much before this? She looked at him, unsure how honest she was allowed to be. A little, sir. He glanced at her rifle case beside her. That's not a little. She stayed silent. The wind worsened. Mirage danced across every sight picture. Rawlins raised his voice. Last run of the day, full team qualification. Each SEAL took a station. The teenager stood behind the line as ordered, hands folded behind her back, eyes narrowing at the flags, whipping in different directions. Hale went prone again, jaw set. Rawlins leaned closer to him. Make them count. Yes, Chief. Shot 1, miss. Shot 2, miss. Shot 3, barely clipped steel. Hale cursed under his breath. Rawlins exhaled, frustrated. We're calling it. Pack it up. The teenager flinched, just slightly at the waist. Rawlins noticed. What? He asked. She shook her head. Nothing, sir. Say it. She swallowed. Sir, if you allow, I could demonstrate the wind pattern. Hale scoffed. Demonstrate? Kid, you haven't even fired today. Rawlins stared at her rifle case, then at the targets, then back at her. Command didn't approve you firing, he said. Yes, Chief, but Command also didn't expect my shooters to botch a full qual. His voice hardened. Get your rifle. Hale bolted upright. Chief? Seriously? Rawlins didn't answer. The teenager didn't smile, didn't brag. She simply moved. The rifle was plain, worn, stripped of any unnecessary parts, pure function. You sure you can handle that recoil? Hale challenged. Yes, sir. Rawlins stepped beside her. Distance is 1,000 meters, full wind correction. You have 3 rounds. She nodded. The world seemed to slow around her. She lay prone, perfectly aligned, no wasted movement. Her cheek settled on the comb like she'd grown up on that rifle. Her breathing steadied. The SEALs grew quiet. She whispered the correction under her breath. 2.3. Hold low. Crack. The steel at 1,000 meters rang out like a church bell. Direct center hit. The SEALs froze. Hale blinked. Lucky shot. She adjusted 2 clicks. Crack. Another perfect hit. Dead center. Not left, not right. Dead center. Rawlins' lips parted slightly. How the hell? Hale stared at the target, at the girl, then back at the target. He had no explanation. None. She exhaled. Long, slow, then fired. Crack. When the steel chimed again, even the wind felt stunned. 3 shots. 3 perfect hits, in conditions that had beaten every SEAL on the line. She lifted her head from the rifle. Rawlins didn't speak for 5 full seconds. Then, run it again. She reloaded. The valley waited. Crack. Hit. Crack. Hit. Crack. Hit. 3 more perfect strikes, this time at 1,200 meters. Hale's jaw tightened, humiliation mixing with awe. That's impossible, one SEAL whispered. No, Rawlins said quietly. That's skill. The teenager finally spoke. Soft, factual, emotionless. The crosswind splits at the second ridge and curls around the far rocks before stabilizing at the target. Most shooters overcorrect. Rawlins stared at her like he'd never seen a brain work that fast. Where'd you learn that? She blinked. By watching, sir. He nodded slowly. You're not an attachment. She hesitated. He pressed. What are you? Her voice stayed level. I was selected for early entry marksmanship assessment, sir. They didn't tell me what unit I would support. Hale swallowed hard. Chief, we just got outshot by a teenager. Rawlins breathed out through a thin smile. No, we just got evaluated. The team fell silent. Every man understood the implication. She wasn't there to observe their shooting. She was there to see if she could replace them. The gear was packed. The valley cooled. The teenager stood alone at the edge of the ridge, looking at the fading targets like she could still see every shot pattern. Rawlins approached. You ever think you'd run with SEALs? He asked. No, Chief. You think you can keep up? Yes, Chief. He gave a single nod, the kind that meant far more than approval. Behind them, Hale approached. He extended his hand. Not out of obligation. Out of respect. You shoot like that all the time? She shook his hand gently. Only on good days, sir. He laughed under his breath. No sarcasm this time, just truth. The team loaded into the MRZRs. Rollins turned to her. Bring that rifle tomorrow. You'll shoot with the team. Sir? She asked, surprised. You earned your place on the line. The MRZR engines roared. As they drove off, Hale leaned out a window. Attachment, huh? She almost smiled. Yes, sir. Not anymore. The vehicles vanished into the dark. She stood in the dust alone, quiet, steady, unshaken. An 18-year-old with the calm of a veteran and the eye of something even rarer. Something the SEALs would soon learn not to underestimate again. Some shooters train a lifetime to master the wind, but sometimes the battlefield discovers a prodigy long before the world is ready for her.